The Partial Breakaway Podcast with your hosts Nick and Junior and producer Vince, bringing you elite fantasy hockey information to help you win your fantasy leagues and win at life.
Episode 163 of the Partial Breakaway Fantasy Hockey Podcast. We are back as a whole. The three of us reunited after 2 weeks of duo podcasting, if you will.
I was going to say something about the whole, but never mind.
Vince, you're muted still.
Yeah,
Nick just
I
unmuted
unmuted him.
How we doing, boys? I know the Habs are losing here, 3-2 with a couple of minutes left in the third.
a little distracted.
The dreaded 2-goal lead.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least we're all staying hydrated here, and we're paying attention to this podcast because this is our bread and butter, where we actually do not get paid for this. But I hope everybody had a good week. I know that we had our Battle Royale first week go pretty smoothly, other than a couple of hiccups with waiver priorities when there's not supposed to be any waivers. So I do apologize for that. But yeah, it's been really fun. We watched two sweeps. Two teams got swept, one in the East, one in the West. Playoff hockey is so emotional.
Who got swept in the West, Nick?
The Kings.
The Kings are swept.
Oh, they got swept.
Colorado today, 6-1 or 5-1.
Oh, yes. Wow.
Yeah, Colorado beat them in 4, and Ottawa Senators lost in 4 to Carolina as well. So yeah, we're going to obviously talk about that kind of stuff. And I think we are also going to finish what we started on Fantasy Lens. And we're going to finish that as well.
Yeah, there's not much hockey news going around in the next few weeks, especially with playoff hockey going around. So we waited a few weeks because of our scheduling, but I think today we should be able to get through teams 10-1. We hope the Habs game goes in OT, but the podcast hopes it doesn't. So we're all concentrated on this podcast.
Yeah, just to reiterate what we're talking about here, it's Scott Wheeler's top 10 left of his prospect pool rankings. Go read it on The Athletic. And we're just going to touch on the Tier 1 players again in order to discuss who is maybe fantasy relevant or more fantasy relevant than others moving into next year and so on and so forth. So for all Dynasty leagues, prospects are the bread and butter of those leagues, and knowing who's coming up is very important, and especially not only what teams they come, what positions they have, what kind of opportunities they get in those teams. So Tier 1 fantasy players it's going to be interesting.
Guys, I'm not distracted, but I just want to tell you that the Habs are going on a power play with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, we should have not started this podcast at this time.
All right, let's start. Are we doing like an odd man rush finally, or are we just going to add a little bit here?
No,
let's do an odd man rush. No, are we? How many topics do we have on the odd man rush?
We have no.
That was just I copied it just for something else. Don't look at the sheet. We don't have a sheet for this week.
Hey, don't look at sheets. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. All right,
let's
so
go
let's just do the music.
No? Imagine.
All right, Scott Wheeler's top 10. Who we got at number 10?
Who's going first?
I think you should, Vince, because you were more prepared than any of us during this episode.
All right, so at number 10, we have another team that didn't make the playoffs this year, which is the St. Louis Blues. So Scott Wheeler has them as the number 10 prospect pool ranking. Their biggest prospect, they have 3 guys in Tier 1. So one of them is recently drafted in 2025, which is Carbonneau, right winger, 19 years old from Blainville, Boisbriand, playing. The second one is Delorbe, Delorbe Dvorsky, who had his stint with St. Louis this year. He was drafted 10th overall in 2023. And the third one they have is Adam Juracek, who is a right-handed defenseman. He's 19 years old, Brantford, and he was drafted 16th overall in 2024. Junior, who do you wanna talk about?
Who do I want to talk about? Let's talk about like I'm most intrigued by Adam Yurchek, to tell you the truth.
Okay,
I really want to know like how good he can be. And I'll just give you a little blurb here of what Scott Wheeler said. Yurchek plays the game with confidence and intention and has shown real ambition and even creativity at times against his peers. He has good four-way mobility, an active disposition. He also showed the pro level that he could simplify and play a more effective game and balance shooting mechanics. So I mean, he's got all the intangibles, I guess, if you want to be an NHLer. Now, can he put that all together and have enough of an offensive boost to be really worth it in fantasy? I actually think he does. Um, his brother is David Yurchek, correct?
That
Who
is
was
correct. He is
who
the
drafted
younger.
came
by
in.
Adam is the
Columbus
younger
and
brother
traded to
of David.
Minnesota. I actually like him
Yes.
better than his brother.
Well,
So,
no, he was
uh,
drafted by.
What's going on?
yeah, David
Everybody
Yurchek was
went silent.
drafted by Columbus, traded to Minnesota, and then
And was
Minnesota traded
traded.
him to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Jesus! I'm not watching. I promise. Yeah, no. So Adam Yurchek, I think that's definitely a defenseman to keep an eye on. I know Logan might use in the next year, but if I had to pick between the two, I would pick Yurchek.
Yeah, so Adam is projected to be like a number four D man or second pairing D man, with enough offensive upside to be relevant, right, in most leagues. So he also hits well. He also does all that stuff well. So just to give you an idea, I would want to talk about Dvorsky only because I traded for him in a package recently with producer Vince, and
Hmm.
the reason I want to talk about Dvorsky is that a lot of people might start souring on him since he was drafted a few years ago already. It's about 3 years ago now. So um, the big question about Dvorsky is whether he'd be a center or a winger long term. He's gotten bigger. He's not the fastest skater, and he seems to be rounding out as a center with both defensive awareness and positioning. Um, he kind of looks like a second line center as opposed to a first line center. Um, but he can run. Uh, he could have a role on the power play. He picks apart coverages when he has time and space. So he does have all of the traits to be a decent number two center. And I guess
Vince,
He's
who do you like?
he's gonna get his opportunity next year. Dvorsky, I mean, full time. But if Robert Thomas is there, then he'll be sticking to the number two spot. I don't think he's ready, or if he'll overtake Robert Thomas, but he'll be a solid point getter for St. Louis in the up and coming. I was interested in Justin Carbonneau because I know we were talking about Habs drafting him because before the Dobson trade, Habs actually had the pick where he went around 19th. Interesting because he came from the Q, and unfortunately the Q isn't this high. Like, it's not well known like the OHL, WHL players that come from the Q usually don't go in the first. So for his name to pop up and come and get drafted 19th, I was really interested. He's a bit of everything. He can score and he can play make. He has the stature to play in the NHL. He impressed in camp this year with St. Louis. He was thinking of taking the college route, but then at the end decided to go back to the Q. At the Q, I think he's got 89 points in 80 games, which I mean
Yeah,
isn't
80,
isn't
80
bad.
points in 60 games.
Oh, 80 points in 60 games. Sorry, so that's like very good. But once again, like Nick usually says, this is the juniors, so we gotta be careful with the stats that these kids come out of from the juniors. But he'll be interesting because they say he's a hybrid. He can play wing or center, so he can be an asset to either Thomas or Dvorsky, depending on which route he's gonna take.
And on Frozen Tools, he's got a prospect upside of 9 on 10, but his prospect certainty is only 65%. So it's really like he's either going to be really good or he's just going to be an NHLer without much fantasy relevance, you know?
All right, let's move on
Hmm.
to the number 9 team, which is the Montreal Canadiens. So,
Oh,
Montreal Canadiens have the
Have
uh,
50 seconds left to score a goal or they're going to be tied 2-2 in their series.
yeah. Well, Jacob Fowler, who's sitting on the bench right now for Montreal, is the number one tier one prospect that uh, Scott Wheeler has here. He's a 21-year-old goaltender drafted in 2023 um, from, well, he's playing Laval and Montreal right now. Um, then we have Michael Hage, the Michigan player who was drafted in 2024. He's returning to college one more season, which was announced at the end of this year, as he wants to continue his studies. Then we have Alexander Zarovsky, who was the Russian player playing for Ufa, 19 years old. That was our last second round pick in 2025. David Reinbacher, also a draft pick from 2023. He was selected number 5 overall. So that does it for our tier 1. Oh, Bryce Pickford in tier 2. That's sad. I wanted to talk about him, but
Hey, if
all right, who
that's who you
wants to
want to talk about,
No, no, tier 1. Let's go. We don't have all night. Uh,
are you guys surprised Linebacker is still in the tier one category for Montreal Canadiens?
No, because I think a top four defenseman is tier one for Scott. I mean,
Okay.
we just spoke about Adam Juracek. Like Ryan Backer is still projecting at least as a top four defenseman.
and the thing is, he hasn't necessarily been bad. He's just been injured, so I think that too kind
The pro-
of extends his leash a little bit.
Also, guys, for fantasy relevance, I don't know if Ryan Backer is really going to be a fantasy point getter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we should just skip over Ryan Backer and move on to some of the other guys that might be more fantasy relevant on this team.
So,
Sure.
listen, Fowler. I think we all know about Fowler.
The
We're looking at
listeners
him
might
to.
not know.
So Jacob Fowler basically in Hap's eyes is that he can become the next what Carey Price was for us for so many years, which is a top elite goalie prospect. He's doing his he's gaining his stripes by playing in the AHL. Unfortunately, because of our Russian roulette of goaltending this year, he was kind of forced to come to the Montreal Canadiens and play with the Habs because of multiple season and Dobish's ups and downs. I would have liked him to be to have stayed in the AHL and played in the AHL, but in the NHL, his first few starts were a bit erratic, where he was a bit. They called him the swimmers. He was a bit all over the place, but once he got comfortable and into his fourth, fifth game, you saw that he has those ice veins where he's calm, collective, doesn't panic under pressure. So it's looking good for Montreal. It's just when is his time to come? I still give him about 2 years before he's ready to be that number one guy in Montreal. Um, I'm not sure we can wait 2 years, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, I think Dobish is doing a great job so far. There's no reason for us to rush Dobish out of the building.
Yeah, but
Uh,
Dobish has also shown that
Yeah,
As a
exactly. At the
starter for
beginning of the
82
year,
games, it's not. It might not be his thing. Next year, it seems to me it's going to be 1A, 1B between the two of them. I don't think
Right,
Fowler's starting the season in the
well, no,
AHL next year.
but if
right.
Montalbo is
But
still on, if Montalbo is still on the team, Montalbo is still on the lineup unless they
They'll
trade him.
release him. They'll trade him. They'll buy him out. It's done. It's done for
look,
You
Montembeault.
Dobish has
think?
won the number
Well,
one
look,
role right now.
Fowler's sitting on the bench
No,
right
for
now.
sure.
Montembeault is,
Yeah, for sure. Dobish
Right,
has won. The problem is Dobish hasn't shown that he
and don't
can be
forget,
consistent in the NHL.
well, he's a rookie,
it's true. We
Yeah,
forget
guys. He's
about
a
that, man.
rookie.
We forget about that. Yeah.
Like I don't know what goaltender you think that is going to show that he's consistent in the NHL in a rookie season. It doesn't happen. It's not the carry prices are once every 35 years that these guys show up. I don't think Fowler is a carry price. I don't think that he'll ever turn into a carry price, but he could be a solid number one goalie for a team in his prime. The
hmm
problem is his prime is about 3 4 years away. Uh, so for now, I think having a 1A 1B with these two young goaltenders is a great way to go, and they build with the team, right?
And according to Dauber Prospects, his fantasy upside for Jacob Fowler is 9.
Absolutely, that's crazy. Yeah, and
that's big.
next guy on the line is Michael Hage. You want to talk about Michael Hayes Jr.?
Yeah, no problem. So Hage, I know like a lot of people are super, super, super excited for Michael Hage. A lot of the Habs fans did not want him involved in any possible trade, and I get it. You know, especially after the World Juniors he had playing with McKenna, he showed really good flashes of being a number one center. I think when the dust settles and it's all said and done, Hage is a number two center.
Mhm.
Now, how if I think he can still be efficient. I think he's at the right place to learn and develop to his strengths, which is like what you really want as a prospect is you want to be able to develop who you are as a player rather than try to change who you are to fit a system, you know what I mean? And the Canadians do a good job of actually taking your strengths and applying it to what they do. They don't try to make you change your game just for them. So he's in the right place for all that. I'm just trying to get you here. His blend of a little blurb from Scott Wheeler. His blend of skating, skill, scoring, playmaking, and sense is hard to come by and noticeable in every game he plays. He has played this year, and he goes to say that he's a big fan and so on. So, look, a lot of people are high on him. I think he is going to be fantasy relevant. Number two centers are definitely fantasy relevant. He looks like if he ends up staying with the Habs and being with the Habs when he develops, then this is going to be a high scoring team for a long time. And his fantasy upside on Dauber prospects here is 8.5 on 10. His prospect certainty is 8. So, I mean, there's low risk drafting a guy like Michael Hage in your fantasy dynasty leagues.
Yeah,
See,
agreed.
I'm comparing Hage with Jaworski in the hockey prospecting, and they actually have Jaworski being a higher star probability of 49% than Hage. Hage as a star probability is only at 18% right now. NHL probability, Hage is at 81 and Jaworski is at 84. So they're both NHLers that are going to be in the Habs lineup sooner than later. But it's just interesting how Jaworski has the higher star probability than Michael Hage does.
Actually,
Yeah,
so sorry, Nick. Before you go, just because I want to show people how like everyone has their opinions of these people, and even the pros don't necessarily agree all the time. And if you look at Dauber prospects, Jurovsky's fantasy upside is 7.5, but his prospect certainty is only 5.5. Then
Mhm.
you compare that to what Vince just said, and you're like, okay, so who is Alexander Jurovsky? You know?
yeah. So different models will have different takes, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Alexander Zarovsky is a highly talented winger, only 19 years old. Um, he is all-time U19 scoring record, surpassing names like Evgeny Kuznetsov, Vladimir Tarasenko, and Kirill Kaprizov, which is pretty nuts, right? When you put these names out there. Um, he's a little bit lean, needs to gain some weight. 6'2" frame, um, but he's a pretty good skater. He can sometimes get in trouble drifting a little bit, but all kinds of top six gifts. and it's rare to find a player with his talents outside of the first round. Montreal got him in the second round. So he looks like he's going to be another top sixer, which is great for the Habs. And once again, you gotta kind of tip your hat to Nick Bobrov, who finds these Russian players that nobody else seems to look at or doesn't. Nobody else seems to care about them as much, and find a way to get the right ones over into his system. So the Habs are looking good, sitting at ninth, and they still have a very competitive team already, and a very young. They're the youngest team in the playoffs right now. So it's great for to see that they might actually be a good team for a long time with all these prospects coming up.
All
Shall
right.
we
So
move on to number 8?
yeah, Junior, you're gonna go
Yeah,
number 8,
number
Junior.
8. Yeah, the Philadelphia Flyers sit at number 8. They only have one player in tier 1.
It's a big
What
one.
a
It's a big
what
one.
a hell
I
of
think
a
he
It's a
takes
player
big
enough
this
one.
guy.
space. He takes enough space that you don't need anybody else in this tier 1. Porter Martone, guys, this guy seems to be, I don't know, like we already were super high on him. I think the three of us. We
Yeah.
can go back to our prospect rankings if you want, if you don't believe us, but
Good job, Nuge.
this this little stint with the Flyers plus this playoff stint, I showed everybody exactly what tools he has, how good he can be, and that he's already ready for the NHL and to be a prominent player in the NHL. So I'll hand it over to you, Nick. Porter Martone, what can you tell us about him? I know you were really, really hoping to get him in a trade there. That didn't go through, but
Yeah, he was one of the guys that I was really focusing in on as a prospect. Like I wanted a high end prospect for one of my high end players, but finally the GM decided to keep Porter Martone, and he's already paying dividends. Starting this playoff series already. Martone is physical. Um, he's skillful. He knows where to be, how to score. Um, he seems to somehow not be the fastest necessarily, uh, but he gets better and better with every like level that he goes up. So according to Scott Wheeler here, um, Martone has a ton of prestige, and basically, you're looking at a guy that's going to be a top forward in the game. Skill, hockey sense are real, and the consistency of his effort level brings toughness have developed over time. He's one of the top four prospects in the game. So, I mean, what more do you want to say for Porter Martone? Can you give me his fantasy upside according to Dauber Jr.?
9. And his prospect certainty is 6. This was as of March 29th, 2026.
Crazy stuff. Crazy
You
stuff.
know. And you would have thought for a bit I was a little worried because of the World Juniors that he had. He didn't have an extravagant World Juniors, right? So I thought I'm like, okay, so maybe the moment is getting to him and stuff like that. But then he steps into the NHL. He doesn't skip a beat. He's in the playoffs. Doesn't skip a beat. Gets points, gets goals, throws his body around. So he's gonna be a real big deal in Philly. So they've got a very good young team that's manhandling right now the Pittsburgh Penguins in the playoffs.
Yeah. All right. I think
Number
Junior,
6.
you should
7.
lead off in number 7, Seattle Kraken.
Seattle Kraken in tier 1, they have my boy, Berkeley Catton. At number 2, they have Jake O'Brien. I'm starting to realize I have a lot of Seattle prospects. I'm not sure that's a good thing.
Well, at some point,
Um,
one of them is gonna become an offensive powerhouse at some
well,
point.
I sure hope so. So they have two players in tier 1. Berkeley Catton, 20 years old, from Seattle. He was drafted number 8 overall in 2024. I think Nick and I had him like top 4 in our
Yeah.
fantasy prospect ranking at the time.
Yeah.
Jake O'Brien from Brantford, 18 years old, center, also drafted 8th overall in 2025. Vince, which of the two are you? Do you agree with the ranking of 1 and 2, Catton and O'Brien?
Well, in what Seattle has, yes. I think Patton stock might have suffered a bit this year, playing in the NHL, 17 points, 66 games. Some people thought he might have come in there and really proven that he can be that point getter, goal scorer that they want him to be, especially on a Seattle team where the opportunity was there. The problem is, as a young player, if you're not well surrounded, sometimes it hurts your ability to demonstrate what you can do. So I still think Catton is going to be their number one sentiment when we're talking 5 years from now, because our podcast is going to be so big that we're going to have billions of listeners listening.
And
But
billions.
yeah,
Billions.
and billions. But I mean, like, you don't get 116 points and 109 points in in the WHL, WWE. Imagine in the WHL, the talent, the offensive talent is there. It's will to me. It's not about Catton. It's about Seattle. Will Seattle surround this kid with the right pieces to make him succeed? That's going to be the biggest question.
I find in the WHL, if you don't have point per game at a minimum, you're never gonna make it in the NHL.
Yeah, at a minimum, man.
At a minimum.
At a minimum, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, everybody in
Like
the
he had
WHL seems to have
100.
150 points, in 82
Yeah,
games or
it
whatever.
has to be two
They don't
points
play
per
82 games,
game.
but you know what I
Two
mean.
Yeah, 2 points per game, or it's a failure.
Guys, Jake
Nate,
O'Brien
yeah.
is. I'm going to talk about Jake O'Brien a bit here, but you know what, Junior, you're going to have to start talking about people too, eh?
You're the one who told me to go again.
Yeah, okay, you can still talk about people.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh,
Go ahead.
all right. Jake O'Brien was OHL's Rookie of the Year after playing to above point per game and leading all rookies in points and assists. He's a finesse player. He's a little bit small. He has tons of skill, but he's got to grow into his body. He's got to mature a bit. Um, he's a June birthday, so that kind of shows that he still has time to kind of develop. And he has top six forward written all over him. He's probably gonna be a number two center on this team. I mean, things could change, but that's what it looks like right now.
Yeah, he's probably gonna like maybe number two center, but number one power play
Yeah,
because he's
yeah,
too good of a playmaker not to be on that top power play unit. Now, according to Frozen Tools here, oh boy, Jake O'Brien has a 9 on 10 for fantasy upside and a 7 on 10 for prospect certainty.
that's pretty good.
Berkeley Catton, the exact same thing. 9 on 10 for prospect fantasy upside and a 7 on 10 for prospect certainty.
Well, you know what?
So
For our DPR league, we need uh, we don't need Catton. We need O'Brien. So
yeah, and to touch on Vince's point of Seattle being a bit of the problem here, it's not. They're so starved for offense that they might have rushed Berkeley Catton a little bit,
hmm I
Hmm.
agree
and
with that.
and on top of that, when you bring up such a skilled forward, you want to play him with other skilled forwards because they complement each other. They kind of understand each other. Sometimes, even if you're the youngest player on the team, you probably process the game in a way so like in such a advanced way that others maybe don't follow suit. So it makes you look bad in the end more so than it looks the other way around because you're the youngest and you're a rookie. But yeah, no, there's still time on Berkeley Cat, and I wouldn't be demoralized just because it hasn't looked good so far.
Okay,
No.
let's do number six, which is the Utah Mammoth, and then we're gonna do our little break for our sponsor right after this one. Are we good with that?
Very
Yeah,
good,
for
very good.
sure.
All right. So I'll introduce the Utah Mammoth. They are sitting number six in Scott Wheeler's 2026 prospect pool. Very good article, by the way. You guys should go read it. And I'm going to repeat that multiple times because we are using his information here in order to create our podcast. He has number one, Tidja Ginla, 19 years old from Kelowna, BC. Um, Guys, Tidja was also number one on Craig Button's list out of all prospects in the NHL that were drafted. He sees Tidja as the best out of all of them, including better than Frendell, better than some others like Michael Misa. So, just to give you an idea, this guy has clear top six scoring upside, ton of tools, and he's going to score a lot of goals in the NHL. And that's music to any fantasy manager's ears. Goals, goals, and more goals. He was selected number six in the 2024 NHL entry draft, and he's a threatening individual creator who can create in knifing bursts and works quickly to put defenders in their heels, attacking on angles and jumps. Great instincts, jumping into gaps in coverage to get open for his line mates. Like this is everything you want, right? He has the IQ, he has all the stuff that you kind of want in a player. And he is the number one prospect for Utah. Sorry, I don't know why I went in and I just continued talking about Tijiginla, but uh, Vince, why don't you talk to me a little bit about Caleb Desnoyers?
So I'm comparing both these players with the hockey prospecting tools, and you'd be surprised. As a star probability, Tage Gilner right now started at 21 is down to 11%, and as an NHL probability, he started at 61 and he's at 76%. Kalib started at star probability started at 53%
Are you
and
on a
went down.
first name basis with this guy now?
Yeah, exactly.
Khalib.
Kalib
Khalid
Desnoyers, man.
Desnoyers.
Desnoyers.
Desnoyers. It's because I see
Caleb.
this Desnoyers. Okay, so
Caleb, not Khalib.
he's he's at
Probably Caleb.
37. Caleb, exactly.
Caleb
He's
Desnoyers.
he's at
Caleb.
he's still higher than Tidge Igilna at start probability at 37%, but NHL probability he's at 82% and staying steady in the 80s. So it's going to be interesting how they feel these two players because I mean Utah already has a really young team. I mean they got Keller, they got Cooley, they got Genter. Like these guys are not coming off at the top six anytime soon. I mean people thought they were going to get walked over in the first round of the playoffs, and they're leading the Vegas Golden Knights 2-1 in series. So I just don't know if these guys are going to be assets for them to trade to get what they better players or higher players that they need in other positions, or if they're going to bring them up when all their players are making that big money and they need those ELC contracts in their system. But I just find Utah there's not much space to work there in the top six. They just re-signed Schmaltz also, so that's already four players out of six that are in that top six.
Well, Junior, can you tell us a little bit more about Desnoyers himself? Like,
I think Desnoyers is very underrated as a prospect. People see him like as a two-way almost, with some offensive punch, but the guy's got crazy good hockey IQ. He's quick. He's got all the tools. He's actually really, really skilled. But because he plays center and because he gets assigned to double responsibilities, if you will, people assume he won't be that super fantasy relevant. But the reality is he is going to be fantasy relevant. He's going to be really good. And if he could just add some muscle because he's a little bit small in terms of weight, and put all that together, then he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. So here, just a little blurb from Scott Wheeler from his article here. Desnoyers is a good size
But
center
do
with
do you
room to
think
add muscle. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm
do
listening.
you
Vince.
think he'll be a centerman in the NHL? Do you think he'll be a
Yeah.
I think
centerman
so.
in the NHL?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
If he
And
will,
I
he'll
don't.
be the number second centerman they're looking for.
But like you don't have to worry about which team he's going to play with. He's still not close enough to the NHL to really focus on that. At the end of the day, when you're drafting for fantasy purposes, you just want the best prospects out there, regardless of who has them in their prospect pool. Because by the time they're ready for the NHL, they might not even be in that team, or players like Schmaltz might become third line centers and fourth line centers by the time they're ready. So
Yeah,
you're good enough, the
exactly.
opportunity is going to open itself up. And
Always draft for skill and
exactly.
and hope
Yeah,
it
and
it
and
comes to the
hoping
top.
that they'll make their way there. Exactly.
Yeah. You had a
Okay, you
blurb,
guys want to go on
Junior.
team number five?
No,
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yes.
you
We
interrupted
blurred.
Junior. So
I was just going to add
Sorry.
here. While he's not a dynamic skater, individual creator, I see plenty of skill and have seen him make plenty of high skill plays, including a Michigan goal and a ton of hockey IQ. Quick hands, plays tight in traffic, and he's a better skater than his older brother Elliot. If he can add a little bit more pace and muscle, like I was saying before, he's going to have a long career as an important center who contributes to winning on good teams.
the only thing that always scared me about Desnoyers, because I had a chance to like trade for a draft pick to draft him in one of my leagues, is that there was a comparison between him and Pierre-Luc Dubois. And
Mm.
anytime I get a comparison of Pierre-Luc Dubois, I run the other way. Uh, Although here, Scott Wheeler says he's kind of a mix between Nico Hischier and Pierre-Luc Dubois, but leans more towards the Hischier side. So, you know, don't judge the book by its cover, I guess.
Mm.
All right, word from our sponsor. Who's doing our sponsor today?
Okay, here, hold on. I'll do it. I'll do it right.
That's right, you're gonna do it.
DraftKings, baby, it's back. They're a proud sponsor of THPN. Here we go. The Stanley Cup playoffs are here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, has a new customer offer. Bet player props, bet live from the opening faceoff to the final horn. Every moment matters. New DraftKings customers bet just $5, and you'll get $100 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN so you're ready for the moment. That's code THPN. Turn $5 into $100 in bonus bets instantly. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over in most states, void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer.
I mean,
Who are you talking
what was
Nick?
that?
I think
I
you
was
were-
muted.
when I recorded it.
Oh
you
no!
were
Oh, we were
probably
talking.
talking while I recorded it.
That's what happens
You
when
know
you
when
watch
Vince
half-
says you talk too much?
There you go.
You could have
Talk too
told
much.
me.
I didn't realize that it would have caught it, actually. But anyways, it doesn't matter.
It's a good thing you double listen.
I'm
to
just
things.
really happy we don't have to say that damn audio anymore. It's so long and fast and repetitive.
For now, so we'll see. Okay,
That's
so
code
let's get back on track.
THPN, guys. Code THPN for DraftKings, and you get you bet $5, you get an instant $100 in bonus bets. Can't go wrong.
Vince, do you wanna?
Yeah. I'll go. Yeah, I'll
Nashville?
go with team. I'll go with team number 5. So team number 5 is Nashville, who are in a type of retooling, rebuilding, retooling. No one knows right now. They're looking for a GM, if I'm not mistaken, because Trotz stepped down or got a higher position. If I read it correctly.
Is resigning or whatever. But
Oh,
the
yeah,
final
one-
stages of their GM search.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, they that their top 5 in prospects is a really good thing for them, meaning that if they want to retool or rebuild, they're already in that process, and they almost made the playoffs. So it's a really good succession for them. But in their tier 1, they have Brady Martin, who they drafted in 2025, 5th overall. They have Riker Lee, a right winger from Michigan State, who they drafted 26th in the 2025 draft also. They have Igor Sorin, who is 19, drafted 22nd in 2025. In 2025, Matthew Wood, who played some games in Nashville this year, picked 15 in 2023. And they have Tanner, they have a lot of tier 1. Tanner Mollendijk, a left-hand defenseman, 21 years old, drafted 24th in 2023. Cameron Reed, left-handed defenseman, 18, drafted 21st in 2025. Those are all tier 1 players. And if there's something in common they all have is they've all been picked 18 and later, which is unbelievable that these players are all ranked in their tier 1. So, I mean, I don't know, Nick. Start with one of them.
Yeah. So the only thing is, I'm going to talk about Brady Martin, and if your league counts hits and blocks and shots, maybe Brady Martin is going to be the guy for you. But he kind of reminds me a little bit of another player that's similar to that, but is not a number one center, and that's Sam Bennett. So you have to really understand what league you're looking at and what your league values, because to me, Sam Bennett is not fantasy relevant in a points only league, but he might be in a categories league or a roto league, right? So I just don't see a lot of fantasy relevance in Brady Martin, to be honest with you. And maybe he's going to prove me wrong. Maybe he turns into a dynamic, talented 80-point player. I just I just don't see that, right? I don't think that he's there. So maybe he turns into that later on. Um, I don't know. That's my take on the number one guy on that list. Junior, you want to grab someone?
Not really.
So
No, I'm
Nick,
just kidding. Go
Nick,
ahead.
you don't think? Sorry, you don't think he'll be a number one offensive centerman
No, I don't.
for?
I don't see it. I mean, he's crafty offensively. He can make plays, but so can a lot of second line centermans, right? Like
Mm,
I don't know. I don't know if he's crafty enough. Let's just say. I think
okay.
he has a well-rounded game and he could really be impactful for a real NHL club. I just for points only, I don't see it.
I
Junior?
want to talk a little bit about. I was going to get his name wrong. Matthew Wood. I don't know if he has any relation to Miles Wood in Columbus, but Matthew Wood was drafted 15th overall in 2023. In 71 games this year, scored 17 goals. That's an 82 game pace. That's 20 goal over 20 goals, and he paced for 35 points. You know, we always say 45 points is a good rookie year. He didn't quite get there, but he did get. He was pacing for over 20 goals, only playing 12 minutes a game. So
Let's see.
he's looked really good because they give him time with Philip Forsberg down the stretch. They give him time with some good players like Ryan O'Reilly. Played center, played wing, played like did a bit of everything, and I'm very very intrigued about Miles Wood. And according to Dauber prospects here in their frozen tools, his prospect upside is 8.5 on 10. His prospect certainty is 80%, and his fantasy upside is 8.5 also on 10. So keep an eye on Matthew Wood. I think this is a good guy that you can, especially in deeper leagues, if if you're making a big deal and you want to throw in a prospect that maybe not a lot of people talk about but could become like an A plus prospect or an A prospect, Matthew Wood is a good guy to ask them if they want to throw him in the deal.
I feel like
Yeah,
that
like
about Cameron Reed too.
yeah. The thing with Nashville is one of these defensemen has to hit, right? They've got Molendyk, they've got Cameron Reed. In their tier two, they have Ufko. One of these defensemen has to hit because they're kind of thinning out right now in defense. They have Yossi, who's pushing 35, 36 years old. Someone needs to come and take, in French, we say la relève. So, which one do you think Cameron Reed or Molendyk has the better opportunity or the better talent to take over that number one offensive position, Nick, on this team?
That's tough. Like Molendyk is listed as a potential number 4-5 defenseman,
Mm, yeah.
whereas Cameron Reed could probably play a little bit higher up the lineup. He's comparing him to Blue Jackets Denton Mateychuk. So I also pushed you guys to draft Cameron Reed in the DPR league. So I really hope he turns into a Mateychuk because then I get proven right, and I got a little bit
He's
of slack when I
he's
drafted him
younger.
without your
He's
consent.
he's only 18. Molendyk is 21.
Yeah, so there's a lot more room with Cameron to kind of grow into that role, right? So I mean, we'll see. I like Reed a little bit better right now. And I think we really need to talk about Riker Lee, though, guys. I don't know, Junior, if that's who you were planning to talk about, or Surin, but like these two guys are offensively gifted.
Riker Lee has an 8 on 10 fantasy upside, 5.5 NHL certainty. Let me just tell you here a little blurb of what
He's like
Frozen
5'7".
Yeah, but
That's the biggest
so
problem.
you
That's
know
why he
what that
went so
comes
low.
with, right? You know what that comes with, right? Flashy, creative, and he's like a joy to watch. Because that's when you're ranked this high as a prospect and you're that small, it's because you're like ridiculously skilled, and that's exactly what Riker Lee is. But he's small. The good news, though, is that we've seen small players produce and be super relevant, especially offensively in the NHL these days. It's a problem that's,
They're rare and far between, though.
Mhm.
Very rare and far between.
you know what, not as much anymore, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at
Maybe
the
not as
look at the
much as
Mon-
they used to be. Don't get
oh,
me wrong.
just
Comparing it to the '90s, but I'm
Tampa
comparing it to
Montreal. You got guys like Braden Point, Brandon Hagel, Cole Caulfield. These are Lane Hudson. Like just there, you got four prime examples of small guys, super skilled, super effective, that found their way in the NHL regardless of their size.
none
And
of them are 5'7", but
Yeah, 5'7" is small. Drew. We'll see.
none of them are 5'7".
Talent can take him down. The one thing I would ask you
here
is it
he's
time.
6 feet, by the way, according to these guys.
So who said 5'7"? You said 5'7".
Oh, I
Uh,
was reading on the thing. Not that long ago, he's 5'7". Now he turned into 6 feet.
Oh,
Sorry,
jeez, Nick.
I didn't read the full sentence.
Distraction after distraction. But okay, so
This
one
Edmonton game
prospect.
is really good. What do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, I know. One, but they're
This guy's
going
more
to
distracted than
first
Edmonton than
period
he was with
in
Montreal
Montreal.
on Edge.
So Joaquim Camel, are we throwing in the white flag? Are we giving
Let's
him
go,
another
Tasso.
year?
Listener Tasso knows what I'm talking about.
What?
Joaquim Kemmel. So Kemmel's not even listed as a top
No,
guy
he's listed
anymore.
as tier two. I have him, so that's why I'm asking. I'm asking when do you throw in the white towel with a guy like Camel?
Well,
22
I've
years
told you,
old,
25. You wait till they're
20,
25.
25.
Yeah, he's not
Well,
even 22 yet. It's hard. He's only played 16 NHL games.
Yeah,
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 the
that's it.
clock's starting to tick, but you have to give time. You have to give
Mhm.
time to some of these prospects. I mean, you wasted a pick on them, right? Whether it was first round or second round, you
Yeah,
you
yeah,
picked
yeah,
this guy.
yeah.
Like, don't throw that away. You
The
gotta
the
wait.
pr- the problem Vince has is that like in a league like LPHL, you can't keep all of them. So he's gonna have decisions to make at some point of which ones
Yeah.
to keep, and I think that's why he's
Throwing
asking. But
Well, if it's between Kemmel and like you have to give me an example of another guy that you're considering keeping here.
Oh well, we'll talk. Oh, you know what? We'll make it into a routine. Sebastian Kosa.
Yeah. Okay. So right now, Kosa seems to have
yeah,
been doing better than Kemmel. So you expose Kemmel
Mm.
in your.
So how you? So why don't you talk about our number four team, Nick, on Scott Wheeler's team?
So the number 4 team on Scott Wheeler's list is the Iser plan.
who needs better
Uh,
players?
We need.
Supposedly, he needs a GM to get him better players, except he doesn't realize he's the GM who gets the better players, right? His top 2 guys in Tier 1 are Sebastian Kosa and Trey Augustine. Great. You have 2 goalies in Tier 1. That's very good. They also have Sandin Pelika, 21-year-old right-handed defenseman, number 17 in 2023. I think everybody pretty much knows who that is. He played a pretty decent amount, actually, in the NHL this year. Carter Bear is going to be a good one. He's also a Tier 1 19-year-old left wing player, 13th overall in 2025, so still very young. Nate Danielson,
Mm.
number 9 in 2023. I'm just not sure if there's fantasy relevance there. He looks more like a middle six shutdown center to me, but more defensive than offensive. I don't know if it's like a. He's going to be better than Evans, but anyways. Um, Michael Brandseg Nygaard. Remember that guy, Junior?
Yeah,
We
I
loved
like
him in
this
Man,
guy.
2024.
I
We
love this
loved
guy.
him. They have Emmett Finney, who actually came out of nowhere for some of us, especially me. He was drafted number 201 in 2023, and he was playing top line for the Detroit Red Wings this year. Max Plant is tier two, but he actually just finished winning the Hobie Breaker. So uh, something to talk about there with Max Plant. There is some fantasy upside there. I'll let you guys pick the player you want to talk about out of all these players.
I'm gonna go with Nygaard just because he had a unbelievable preseason this year where I think he was leading the NHL in scoring, and then when he got his cup of tea in the NHL, that's when things settle in and you realize that now you're playing against the real NHL players, the ones who have been in the league for 5, 6, 10 years and have experience. And he struggled a bit with playing with these players or against these players. And he played in the AHL, which I just want to bring up his numbers because they weren't bad in the AHL. But no, that's not it. So he he's got a shot that is NHL ready. The problem is, will he be able to use it enough with the little amount of space that he has in the NHL? Like he got 44 points in 60 games with Grand Rapids, 20 goals, 24 assists. So it'll be interesting to see where he fits in on this Detroit team. Like we said, Yasman's looking for better players, so he might be one of these better players that he's talking about.
Sorry, Vince, you're talking on Nygaard?
Yes, you were speaking
Oh,
about
Yeah.
yeah, okay. I
Nygaard.
Wow,
missed
look
the
at you
name.
not listening.
No, I missed the name at the
It's
beginning,
even
and
on
then
intermission.
what's on intermission? I'm not even watching. It's the Habs or nothing. I'm gonna go to Sandin Pelika. Um,
That's a great thing to say during a fantasy hockey podcast where you're talking about all the teams. It's Habs or nothing. I don't watch anything else.
well,
Man, no
not
wonder we
during
don't
the
get listeners and
not
viewers.
during the podcast.
Oh,
During the
okay.
podcast, I can afford to be distracted by the Habs, but no one else. Sandin Pelika is an individually talented, competitive 5'11 defenseman, so another small player here. With natural scoring instincts and the tools to execute, he has really good edges and mobility, and has shown improved speed in straight lines to pull away from chasers, with more room for growth there still. So we saw him this year briefly in the NHL. He had his moments, but by the end of the season, when they really needed to win, he was a healthy scratch more so than relevant. These are the growing pains of a young guy, especially a young guy who's skilled and small, joining a team that now is expected to make playoffs. So he got the short end of the stick, but I still think this is someone that you don't just give up on. He's way too talented. Do I worry that Maurice Sider has a bigger spot on that power play right now? Yes. And the reason now I'm a little bit worried because of another player in the team is because he's already in the NHL. So if this prospect wasn't yet in the NHL, I don't care about that stuff. Now I care a little bit more. So I own Sandin Pelika, and I got to keep him next year because he doesn't make a lot of money, and I'm tight against the cap. And I want to see him have an opportunity, but the odds are he might not win a spot over Moritz Sider on that power play, at least not short
Yeah,
term.
but power play two defensemen could still be relevant.
Could still be, yeah, exactly. But not.
Yeah, we'll see. He
It's
had
not a bad thing.
34% of the power play last year,
Yeah.
so we'll see if that can improve. But he's too good not to, at some point, break out and break through and find his way in offensive positions.
I'll tell you one guy who's never going to be a power play guy, and this is
Finney?
fantasy relevant. Exactly, Emmett Finney. This is going to be fantasy relevant, a little bit on the negative side, because there's a lot of hype about this guy, right? Because he
Hmm.
came out of nowhere. He played on the top line. People are going to start overdrafting him in redraft leagues or in some dynasty leagues, and I think it's a guy that doesn't really have that fantasy upside points wise. He'll never be a top power play guy. Um, he's a good Swiss Army knife for a team that needs a player in a pinch to play top line or second line. And he has a handful of goals this year, but like even Wheeler kind of says here that he's going to be up and down the lineup for a long time. Um, he's never going to be. He doesn't know if he's ever going to be able to produce points in a significant way because he's never going to be a top power play guy. So for me, you guys should know that when you're going out there and wasting a first or second round pick in your dynasty league on a guy like Emmett
Mm.
Finney, maybe listening to this podcast, I could save you that pick and you draft him maybe in the fifth round or something like that.
Well,
And you can tell Nick, thank you.
you know what Emmett Finney is? He's like a Braden Bowman. No, Braden Bowman got his opportunity with Vegas this year. Everybody fell in love. They went to pick him up, sign him as a free agent, and then he fiddled off. He fizzled off.
He fiddled. He fiddled.
He
What
fiddled.
did he fiddle with exactly?
I don't
All
know, but
right.
he spent too much time fiddling that he couldn't keep up with
He
his
couldn't
point
fizzle. He
production.
ended up fizzling. He spent so much time fiddling
He
that he
fiddled,
fizzled.
fizzled, and sizzled all at the same time.
Oh, shit.
The interesting thing is, how's Yasmin going to fiddle with his two goalies? Is he keeping these two young guys? Is he going to trade one of these young guys?
No,
and
he's not trading them.
Agustino
Stop it.
Cossa? Oh,
Only
you got
you talk
Gibson.
about this.
I'm telling you, it's an interesting storyline in Detroit.
They're not. It's not interesting at all. You
Oh
still
yeah,
have three more.
when
You have
it
3 more
happens,
years
Nick,
before Augustine could even come up.
They have very similar prospects. I find Detroit, like you could fit Carter Bear, Branson Nygaard, Nate Danielson. I feel like you could fit them all. Like just pick one, and you feel like you get the same out of them. Like someone who could produce but not gonna be elite. Someone that's like a two-way.
Mhm.
It's gonna be efficient. It's gonna be an NHLer, but not necessarily elite offensive production. You know, so yeah.
Number 3, the Calgary Flames. I'm very interested.
So
in
this is where you
one.
want to. This is where you want to be if you're a rebuilding team. You want to be 3, 2, or 1 in your prospect in Wheeler's prospect pool.
Yeah. So they have Zane Parekh, which is an elite offensive forward, but has a lot of shortcomings defensively
Offensive
so far.
defenseman.
Offensive
Sorry,
defenseman.
offensive defenseman. That's what I meant to say. Right-handed offensive defenseman, 20 years old, drafted 9th overall in 2024. Then we have no one else in Tier 1. So this is where you want to be, but Tier 2, you have Cole Resch. They have a lot of Tier 2 guys, which is the reason why I think this happened. So Cole Reschny is in Tier 2. Matvey Gridden is in Tier 2.
That's it. They only got 2 guys in.
Oh my God! So I don't.
But they got
Wheeler,
a lot of guys in
Wheeler,
Tier 3. They only have
Wheeler,
one guy.
you got to talk to me, man. What's going on here, Wheeler? Why do you have Calgary here? They have a lot of Tier 7 guys. Okay.
No, there are a lot of Tier 3 guys, but I think it's worth talking about Zane Parekh. You know,
He's number 1 on that list.
I was super, super high on him. A lot of us were. I mean,
Yeah.
when you're that skilled and that good with the puck and you're a defenseman, undoubtedly you're going to be top 3 in drafts, right? But don't be scared. And we're saying this a lot, I find, this episode, but don't be scared of the little blip he had this year where he couldn't really find his game with Calgary. Like, these guys, they need to adjust to the NHL. It's a different level. It's a different speed. It's a different maturity. The game, you need to be able to, the game is so fast that you need to learn how to process it differently when you reach this level. And you saw him coming around towards the end of this year. You saw his IQ. You saw when he has open space on the power play, how lethal he can be. He's got a great shot, but he's also got a great hockey IQ, especially in space. So don't give up on Zane Parekh just because of what you saw this year. It's coming, and you're going to be very impressed.
All right, let's move on.
That's it. Nobody else wants to talk. Okay, let me do number 2 here. The San Jose Sharks. Now, this is where you want to be.
If you're a rebuilding team,
So in Tier 1, we have one player. Michael Misa, 19 years old,
Like
center, drafted
we
second
honestly
overall.
we have to
One
talk
player-
to Wheeler and say, I don't know. Nashville
One
had
player in Tier
7
1, one player
players
in Tier 2.
1.
Anyhow, so they have one player in Tier 1, Michael Misa, and they have one player in Tier 2, which is Sam Dickinson. Vince, tell us about Michael Misa and why we did good drafting him over Matthew Schaefer.
Right now, it doesn't seem like we did good drafting him over Matthew Schaefer. Um, but he has exceptional status. He drew headlines
You said that
in
really
the
nicely.
OHL. Yeah,
Exceptional.
exceptional. I gotta make it seem like we made. I gotta make it seem like we picked the right player, Nick. We did pick Misa over Schaefer. Just like
Yeah, it
let that
hurts.
sink in after this year. But he's a young player. He's got talent. The problem is he going to be a centerman or a winger in the NHL? He got his feet wet this year with San Jose. San Jose did really well. When you're playing with great players like Celebrini, at some point we'll see. I think next year is going to be the year where we're gonna really see if he can hit that 50 to 60 point rookie that we want from rookies. But it's man, it's very hard for me. So I'm not gonna lie. Like you guys have to be a little bit discouraged of his season. No, weren't we expecting a little more from Misa?
I think he picked it up in the end,
Yeah.
and it was very encouraging at the end because he started putting the puck in the net more. He started playing a lot better at the end of the year. Don't forget, this kid's 19 years old. We can't expect every 19-year-old to come out here and be a gangbuster right off the bat, right?
A what?
A gangbuster.
It sounded like you said gangbaster.
Uh,
I think I did. Um, it's late. It's late. But like I'm looking at,
it's a good thing
I'm
broke
I'm
off.
upset right now
Oh,
at Wheeler.
oh,
Uh, like Ravensburgen at tier 3, Chernyshov in tier 3. Like I don't. How does Nashville have 7 guys and they're all third liners, and here you have guys that potentially could be top sixers, and they're only in tier 3. You know.
It's probably because of the certainty. Maybe he feels there's more certainty on those players of Nashville to be NHLers than the certainty of the players like Ravensburgen or whatever. But just to touch up back on Michael Misa, he got hurt also this year. He still was pacing for 38 points. He's on a team that like is so focused on Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini that you kind of turn, you don't pay as much attention to him. But the reality is, this kid's phenomenal. Like, it's just a matter of time before he shows why he was the second overall pick. And he, like you said, he showed flashes of that down the stretch. He still has a prospect upside of 9.5 on 10, prospect certainty of 90%. In fact, his fantasy upside is 9.5 on 10, according to Dobber Prospects. So, guys, don't let up on Michael Misa. He's the real deal. He's gonna come around, and by the time it's all said and done, him and Schaefer will be at equal level. I'm telling you.
All right, let's move on
Nick, I
to
don't think
the
I don't.
number one
Nick,
team.
I know you're upset. I don't know if you're the guy to read that number one team because you're already upset with Wheeler. You're not gonna like this number one team. Go ahead, Nick.
Chicago Blackhawks is the number one team.
They don't have a tier one player.
They only have one tier 1 player,
Yeah.
and that is Anton Frundell, which I'm very happy about actually because I do own him and I traded away Sebastian Aho to get Frundell in a package with other guys as well. Frundell is a top sixer for sure, I think. Probably a top line player. Um, Played amazing in the World Juniors, helping Sweden to a gold medal. I'm telling you guys, Sweden has some up and coming players even this year with Stenberg and Bjork and Gudbranson. Like they have a lot of good guys coming up even in this draft this year. Frandel is one of those quality guys. He's played against men for a long time. Coming over to the NHL this year, he had a stint near the end of the year with Chicago. It doesn't have the most pace, but his playmaking is high end. Excellent top six player, great shooting, and he could play 2 ways. So to me, if Frandel turns into Bedard's left winger for the
Mm.
next decade, this is a huge win for me. Because if that could be it, that's exactly what I want to say. Um, there's also Kanserov, who's a tier 2 guy. I
Ooh,
don't know if you guys want to talk about
one
him
guy
though.
who Well, we're going to talk about him because he's going to be a guy who's going to get drafted. If
He's already
like
drafted.
unless you're no in Lama, yes, but LPHL is not drafted.
No, he's
Oh, you're
saying in
talking about
fantasy.
fantasy in fantasy, yeah.
Yeah, fantasy.
If
Yeah,
nobody
in
heard of him
fantasy.
before,
Yeah,
he
they definitely heard of him this year because he ripped it apart in the KHL. 63 games, 64 points, 36 goals, 28 assists, 22, 11 games played in the playoffs, 5 points. It's gonna be interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about him, but I feel this could be like a little trap game where,
he's 5'9".
yeah, but it could be a little trap game where he's there and people are like, oh my god, look at the points he's putting up, and he's gonna play with a Bedard or he's gonna play with a Nazar, and you're like overhyping it, and then he comes here and he's gonna be a third liner winger who scores 20 goals. So I don't know. He'll be an interesting storyline next year for the Chicago Blackhawks.
Doesn't he remind you a bit of Nick Lardis?
Hmm. I was
Like
gonna say
Nick
They're the
Lardis
same
is
player.
5'11". He also went off in 2024, 2025. He had 117 points in 65 games with Brantford Bulldogs
OHL, Nick.
and
OHL.
in the OHL, and then, but you know what? He kind of sustained that because he was a point per game player with Rockford this year in the AHL. Got a sniff. Played 41 games this year in the NHL, 15 points in 41 games. But when he was put with Bedard there for a little while, they kind of had good chemistry. He kind of produced, and then he fiddled, sizzled, whizzled, whatever it is to say. But
the problem
yeah,
is
there's going to be ups and downs with Kanserov. I feel like they're the same type of player. I'm not sure if I want to believe the hype at what it is now. I think it's somewhere in between.
okay. So here Wheeler ends it really well, and I think this is where we should end it as well. Is that the Blackhawks actually have an abundance of these 5'9", 5'10" players, and chances
Hmm.
are is that only one of them is going to make it because you can't have a full lineup of 5'9" players. So is it going to be Nick Lardis? Is it going to be Kantarov? Right? Like Nazar is how tall is Nazar? I think he's pretty small as well, right?
No,
I think
Nazar. Yeah,
he's 6
he was.
foot. Hold on,
Yeah,
I'll tell you right
he's
now.
in that
He's
Oliver
range.
five
Then
ten.
Moore is
he's in that. He's
5'11",
5'10.
yeah.
right? So there's
Oliver
quite a
Moore's
few of these
5'11" too.
guys. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, anyways, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens in Chicago. I want to move on, guys, if we can, to speak a little bit about our um, playoff pool before we close it for the day. How does that sound?
You go, Nick. Just don't mention my team.
That's the fantasy lens, bro.
Well, technically, this was Fantasy Lens in a way, right? Because we started the top 10. Okay, shut up. Where's the other one? I don't have it. You
Uh,
have it.
I know. I'm trying to find it. I can't
No,
find it.
didn't we take it
Wow.
out?
Good podcasting. No, we didn't take it out.
There we go.
Yes, that is our anthem for the Battle Royale Fantasy Hockey Playoff Pool, where this year we had 12 plus 14 is 26 contestants. Is that correct, Nick?
That is correct, sir.
I see.
One was doubled actually, so it's 25.
25 plus 1. So we divided that into two divisions, one of 14 teams and one of 12 teams. The top half, so the top 7 of the 14 team league will make it to the next round, and the top 6 of the 12 team league will take us to the next round, creating one group for the next round, one draft, which will be a lot easier to manage and to analyze. Right, Nick?
Correct, sir.
Okay, so let's take a look at Group A here. We have Tamerms in first place with 69.8 points. He's got a healthy lead on second place. Where's my Truba, who has 51.6 points. And Mike is in third with 48. Co-host Nick in fourth place, I should add, zero point 0.1 points behind Mike. and a small 2.5 points above the threshold, which is seventh place there. So it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight for you there, Nick. I'm going to go to Group A, Division B here.
Guys, I just want to mention Christian Dvorak. He's actually been pretty decent for me.
Christian Dvorak
He's been your guy, Nick.
Has 3.7 points so far. Not your best player, but not your worst either. In fact, Tyson Forrester, his teammate, is your worst player.
That's right.
All right, so back to Division A, where Vince and I are. Anthony Caparelli is in first place with 59.5 points. Guides 13 with 55.9, and listener Dan at 49.5. I, like Nick, sit in fourth with 49 points. I'm just 3 points ahead here, 3.1 points ahead of the seventh spot. Vince, you find yourself in last year. Let's start with you. What happened? Where do you think you went wrong? Is it all about the auto draft?
Where I went wrong was I had to go to Toronto the next day, and I started drafting. So I drafted
we know.
McCarr.
We know.
I was
saw
drafting
your
at the
first
end.
2 picks. We said that's
Yeah.
not auto draft.
So I
That's
drafted
Vince.
there, and then we went with Braden Point because I knew it was going to be a long series with Montreal, and Hyman because he's a playoff performer. And after that, I put my phone down because I had to pack my luggage or pack my bag. And all of a sudden, Anthony Manta showed up on my team, and that's when I threw my phone and said, "I'm done." That's
Actually,
exactly what happened.
Mantha was actually a really good player at the end of the year for Pittsburgh. Really
Yeah,
good player for
well, let
Pittsburgh.
me tell you what he has now, Nick. 4 games played, 0, 0, 0, 0,
No,
five
he has
shots
zero
on
shots on. Okay,
5.
he has 5 shots.
five shots.
He's almost as good as Parker Kelly and Tyson Forrester for me.
So,
No, but
so
I
yeah, so
think
that's
Vince,
what
what happened is your top guys haven't produced
Yeah.
like top guys, and McCarr now
No, but
swept the
yeah,
king, so he's not playing anymore, and he only
no,
had I think 2 points total,
I think the
no.
worst thing that
Well,
could
he,
happen to you is
and
he
he
has
having
scored
two
a
2 goals.
goals.
Carolina player or Colorado player right now.
Like
So
I today I lost two players. I lost Lafreniere who gave me 4 assists and 15 shots on goal, and Kale McCarr who gave me 2 goals and 12 shots on goal and one game winning goal. So I mean we're aiming to try to catch up to number 6, but like I said, I would need some of my players like Hurdle, uh, Kreider, Hyman. Hopefully, these series all go into 6, 7 games and don't end early. But I mean, we'll see. It is what it is.
I want to touch on Tamerm's team just because he's got the most points by a mile on anybody else in both divisions. 69.8 points, and I think it's because Division A really is the weakest division that made him draft all these guys. I'm just kidding. But let's take a quick look at his team here.
But he's in Division B.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting them confused because it's at the top, so I thought it was A. So Division Tamerm's Zach Benson, Sidney Crosby, Joel Eriksson Ek, Brandon Hagel, Taylor Hall, Nathan McKinnon, Logan Stankoven, Jake Sanderson, and Mikhail Sergachev.
Yeah, but now he just lost 3 players.
Yeah, but he's got double-digit lead on second place.
I
Let
know.
alone
I'm just saying.
he's got
Guys,
probably
Taylor-
the most
Taylor
productive
Hall-
player in Brandon Hagel.
Hagel and Hall are extremely. Stankoven was so productive; it's unbelievable.
Yeah, Stankoven in 4 games was very productive.
And he had an injured Sanderson, imagine.
Hagel's like the only person scoring in freaking Tampa.
6 goals, 1 assist.
Insane.
Crazy.
Insane.
Even Eriksson Ek has been pretty productive. Yeah, I mean, he knocked it out of the park with his picks, let's be honest.
Yeah, he won a lot of centers.
Yeah.
Hagel and Hall aren't.
Sergachev is his worst player. 3 games played, only 2 shots on goal, no points to show.
Yeah. I hope I make it to the second round. This has been a lot of fun so far.
So I just want to advise if people are actually listening to this podcast, but when there's sweeps, especially when there's more than one, a lot of times what happens is the second round might start before the first round ends. And this happened to us last year. And basically, what we do is we draft when we know every single matchup. even if that means that a game of the second round has already been played. And it's to your discretion if you want to draft a player that has those points and you gain those points. But, that's, I guess, that's going to be your choice when you get the number one pick of the second draft. So if you finish, it's going to be by most points. So we'll take the top half of both divisions, and we're going to rank them from most points to least points, and that'll be the draft order. Am I right, Nick? Vince?
That's correct.
Okay. So if that is the case and there's a player that has already accumulated points in the second round, he will still be available to draft. You will be able to earn those points right away. But again, it'll be to your discretion. Is it a one-off? Is it not? Well, do you draft that player who has multiple points over maybe the best player available? Those are all things that come into play. But we think that's the fairest way to go about it.
I agree.
That's it, guys. That's it.
Vince?
We're done.
Wow, that is it.
Vince.
Yeah.
Joke of the day.
Yeah. What?
Joke of the day.
Joke of the day.
Something with fiddling
Okay,
or
well, I'm
sizzling.
going to tell you the one. No, I'm going to tell you the one I did. Well, now it doesn't look that good, but the Edmonton Oilers starting Tristan Jarry is like you taking a shit in your pants and changing your shirt.
Tristan
that
Jarry
one on
has a
Twitter.
shutout. 14 minutes left in the
Tristan-
second period.
Starting Tristan Jarry over Connor Ingram is the joke, right?
Over Connor Ingram. Yeah, exactly.
All right,
love
guys.
it.
It was good to be back, man. It was good to be back. Do this again next week
If we're still alive. If we're still here.
if we haven't been back.
Wow, were you planning on going
might
to
get
war or
canceled.
something? Were you?
No, we might get cancelled after this episode.
Jeez. So bitter, Nick.
Just a little bit of Schitt's Creek. That's all.
Have a good night.
Good night, peeps.